Let's talk NXT and Smackdown, shall we? Oh, by the way, from this moment forward, we're going to be switching it up. Or in this case, we're going to be flipping it around. What do I mean by that? Well, from this moment forward, we're going to be doing NXT last and Smackdown first. Why? Because, well, I'm enjoying the NXT product a whole lot more than I am the WWE's by and large. So, I'm going to talk about the program that I want to talk about last and talk about SmackDown first. So, anybody that's watching these videos to see the SmackDown recap don't have to wait through NXT, and any of these people that are watching the NXT recaps to watch NXT don't have to worry about SmackDown being last. They can just watch NXT and bomb out. Or they could just watch both. It depends on what your viewership out there is doing, and I'm not exactly sure exactly what it is. I'm going to guess you're probably not watching the whole video, but that's how it works. I mean, I'm long-winded, I don't edit, so you have to understand what you're getting yourself into when you watch one of these recaps. Now, that being said, it's holiday week, obviously. Tomorrow is Festivus, which will bring you a Raw recap. Christmas Eve on Wednesday brings you a vlog of randomness that is not so random, and Sip and Snack comes at you on Christmas Day. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, that's cool. Happy holidays to all of you out there, and hopefully you're enjoying your time off, time away from school, or just enjoying your time in general. Because we are mere few days away from the end of 2014 and the start of a lot of movie videos on this channel. Even more so than normal. Obviously, we're going to be doing prediction videos, and starting next month, we're going to be kicking into The Apprentice, so we're going to go into Celebrity Apprentice videos yet again. So let's talk about SmackDown for starters, shall we? So, Roman Reigns comes out, and on Raw, he Superman punches the Big Show, knocks him off the apron, doesn't knock him on the ground. Well, he knocked him on the ground, but doesn't actually knock him down. Well, he kind of knocked him off the apron, technically. But Big Show never left his feet. There we go. And we're setting up Roman Reigns and the Big Show. Okay. As long as Roman Reigns is kept away from the main event picture for the time being, I'm fine with that. This obviously is his return to SmackDown, and this was the SmackDown Live that was part of WWE Week on this past week, and WWE Week is basically, for me, just SmackDown, because I don't watch Tribute to the Troops, and I'm damn sure not watching Jingle All the Way, too. So, this was all I was going to watch. After Raw, this was going to be the SmackDown, and then that was going to be the end of it. So, Roman Reigns gets a very competitive match against Fandango, which made me very happy, because obviously I'm a big Fandango fan. And, more so than it probably should have been, honestly. If you're going to bring Roman Reigns back, you're going to have to do one of two things. Either A, you're going to have him squash some people, or B, you're going to have to test his longevity. Is he able to do 15-minute matches, 15-minute singles matches, 20-minute singles matches that you pretty much need to do if you're able to be in the main event picture in WWE? You're going to have to do the 20-minute match, and I'm not talking about chin-lock, chin-lock, chin-lock. We're not talking about old-school Randy Orton matches. We're talking about the fact that if Roman Reigns is going to be the guy, he's going to have to prove that he's the guy. And like I said, to me, he's not proven it yet. So, this match was a lot longer than I thought it would be. It actually went for about 5 minutes, and it ended up with Fandango actually getting the upper hand, but he dives off the middle turnbuckle, and he eats the right hand from Roman. Roman ducks his clothesline, and leaping clothesline connects. Tosses him in the corner, charging clothesline, and tosses him in over the shoulder power slam, Superman punch, spear, 1, 2, 3. And that was the end of that. He learned the cravat, apparently, while he was gone. Sure. A lot more competitive than I thought it would be, and given the fact that how they've been booking Fandango lately, when it comes down to it, kind of surprised he got that much offense in this match. And it wasn't a squash, and it wasn't an elongated squash. It was actually a very short but competitive match. Something that they probably shouldn't be doing with Roman Reigns right now. This probably should have been a squash on Heath Slater at this point. And I haven't seen Slater for a while, so maybe I'm missing something. Maybe he's on Superstars and I haven't had a chance to watch that, or maybe he's on Beta Vet, something like that. Excuse me. Either way, a lot longer and a lot more competitive than it should have been, and that's coming from a Fandango fan. If you want to build Roman Reigns as the guy, you're going to have to give him short matches and keep him the hell away from the microphone. But everyone knows that. So Dean Ambrose comes out and he says Bray Wyatt made it perfectly clear that there's a special place in hell for both of them. Ambrose loved TLC. He loved to let out his anger and his frustrations. Perhaps he had a tad bit of bad karma, that's the reason why he lost, but Bray should be afraid. Why? Because he's never faced someone that doesn't care as much as Dean Ambrose doesn't. He's never fought someone as twisted as him. We see Bray Wyatt on the Tron. He basically says, Ambrose doesn't get it. Bray enjoys their game, so that's the reason why Ambrose is still breathing. If you could only see behind Bray Wyatt's eyes, he is disdain. He is a slave to his calling, and he cannot stop. He will not stop until he sees all the heroes fall and all the cities crumble. You know, some people just like to see the world burn. Bray is the battlefield, and it will not end until it all will burn down. That's pretty much what we have here. Just continuation of Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose. It's alright. No problem with it. I mean, it was short, straight and to the point, and didn't build to a match. We got that in the next night on the boot camp match, Tribute to the Troops, but obviously I didn't see that. I did state a while ago, if this was old school Florida Championship Wrestling, you'd have Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose basically tearing into each other in every National Guard armory in the entire state for months until they build to their big climactic battle. Texas Death Match, something like that. You obviously have to do stipulation matches between these two because regular matches aren't enough. You actually have to build to something. But is it really enough to do anything with it? I mean, you have the electrification. Do you do electrified anything? Like, I would say electrified barbed wire, like a Japanese-style death match, but not in PG WWE. It's not going to happen. So we get our next match, 6-man tag team action. It is your WWE Tag Team Champions, The Miz and Damian Mizdow, teaming up with Luke Harper, taking on Jimmy and Jey Uso and Eric Rowan. This match was a little bit longer than I thought it would be as well. Formulaic 6-man tag team action, formulaic tag match that you would normally see on a SmackDown. And it basically led to the finish of the match. Usos duck a double clothesline from Luke Harper. They super kick him, and then they super kick The Miz. They had a tandem tope, and that nails Harper on the floor. Usos call Eric Rowan up to the top. He hits the big splash on The Miz, and that's all she wrote. 1, 2, 3, and the Usos and Eric Rowan win. So, Eric Rowan has been losing the singles matches, but he wins the tag match. Okay, I guess I understand that. And I'm not going with the big red gimmick. I think it's stupid. I didn't like it when Jim Ross would call The Undertaker Booger Red. I thought that was stupid as well, but that's just me, I guess. I just don't like it. It's infantile, stupid, don't appreciate it. After the match is over, Uso's trying to get Rowan to celebrate with them, and he basically gives them a high five, and that's the end of that. Obviously, we're building towards problems between the WWE Tag Team Champions and the Usos, and this is set up in the next segment where Naomi is prepping for her Divas title match that she got thanks to The Miz, and this was done on Miz TV on Main Event, which obviously I did not talk about. Jimmy apologizes for his actions on Miz TV, but he doesn't trust The Miz whatsoever. He believes in Naomi, but he understands why what was done was done. Naomi says, you know what, I get that, but I need to do this on my own. And when I win, we'll celebrate later, so we're building to that. We have Seth Rollins and Ryback as announced as the match. Rollins comes out, and before the match even starts, Ryback's on the top of the stage, and he gets jumped by Rusev. Rusev hits the Muay Thai kick, knocks him off the stage, and then when he gets back on the ground, hits the Muay Thai kick again, knocks him over some production boxes and into the backstage area. So Rusev stands tall, and we don't have a match. Okay, building towards Rusev and Ryback. That's fine, I guess, for the time being. It should be an interesting feud. At least it's something different. That's more than I can say about some things. So Rollins, of course, has some time to kill, so he's going to be cutting a promo here. He says, without authority, this place is a madhouse. There's chaos everywhere. No rules. Cats and dogs living together. It's mass hysteria, of course. Yes. And to top it all off, at TLC, Roman Reigns robbed me of a victory. On Raw, I defeated Cena without any help from anyone whatsoever inside a steel cage, obviously. Revisionist history from a heel. Big surprise there. But he has some severely bruised ribs, and of course they're taped up here. And he's still here, but he wanted to take the night off. So it's a win-win situation that Ryback got attacked because now he doesn't have to wrestle anymore. So that makes complete sense. He needs at least a night off to regroup. He says to Joey Mercury, ready the limo, and here comes Dolph Ziggler. He basically says, remember, I was the one who is the reason why the Authority are no longer in power when I beat you at Survivor Series, and I'm going to challenge you to a one-on-one match tonight. Rollins says, you know what have you done to deserve it? Well, Dolph, of course, doesn't have to list his pedigree. He's like, what, are you scared of me? You can admit it if you're afraid. Rollins says, you know what, you're just Dolph Ziggler, and I'm in a giving mood because it's the holiday season, and I'll give gifts tonight of curb stomping you into oblivion, and that's going to be the end of that. Dolph basically says he's going to put on his gear, he's going to run down the aisle, he's going to perform, he's going to steal the show like he always does, and why? Because it's best for business. Building towards a Seth Rollins-Dolph Ziggler feud. Don't have zero issues with this whatsoever. I think it actually might be quite fun. They have great chemistry in the ring together, and they're both willing to do whatever in order to entertain the crowd. So it's going to be something that I'm very much looking forward to. Divas Championship on the line next is Nikki Bella defending against Naomi. Give it a little bit more time than I thought they would. About 5 minutes or so. So The Miz comes to the ring at one point, and he starts cheering Naomi on. So here's the thing. I'm a Miz fan, everyone knows this. But when it comes down to it with this storyline, The Miz is coming out like the babyface, Jimmy Uso's coming out like the heel. But the fact remains, in the segment prior, you have The Miz acting completely like a total heel because he is not going to give the crowd what they want by tagging in Damien Sandow. So he's acting like a heel here, and when it comes to Naomi, he's acting like a face. And Jimmy Uso's coming off like the jealous husband. So yeah, when it comes down to it, Miz is kind of de facto babyface here. But not when it comes to anything else. Just for the storyline, that's it. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. Are we going to get Jimmy letting his rage out and accidentally knocking Naomi down or something like that? Or are we going to get something where Naomi goes with the Miz? I mean, that could possibly happen and Jimmy is left by himself with his brother alone. But that's the thing about it. You have to understand that this storyline is a soap opera storyline that would be custom made for Total Divas. Problem is, Naomi is now not on Total Divas, so they're going to play this out on WWE Broadcasting. I guess we'll see what happens. So this match, like I said, a little bit more back and forth than normal. At one point, you had a middle rope flying body press from Nikki Bella after she hit her chin breaker to get a 1 count on Naomi. When she dives off, a roll through from the challenger, and that's the end of that. Nikki sends her to the floor. Miz goes to check on Naomi. Here comes Jimmy out there, the jealous fool that he is. And he basically punches the Miz up the entrance ramp and says, get out of here, get out of here. And of course, this distraction allows Naomi to be rolled up from behind. 1, 2, 3. And basically, Jimmy cost Naomi the Divas Championship because she had Nikki pretty much well in hand at one point in this match, but it wasn't enough to put her away. This is fine. I have no problems with this. Definitely not. It's just another WWE formulaic Divas match. A lot more offense from Naomi than I thought she would get. It wasn't like a one-sided squash match, which is what a lot of the Divas matches have been lately. A lot of short matches, but more so short squash matches, which is a double problem. So yeah, we continue this feud between the Miz and Jimmy Uso with Naomi in the middle. So we'll see where this goes. So Adam Rose, of course, got squashed on Raw by Kane, and we're going to get a rematch on SmackDown. The Bunny is wearing a protective neck brace because he got tombstoned, Pete Rose style. He was dressed up like the San Diego Chicken at WrestleMania. And, of course, Adam Rose goes for the flying body press, finally drops Kane. He starts celebrating. He does the Alex Wright dance for whatever reason. He's starting to do that now. I'm guessing it's a rib on somebody. I'm pretty sure it is. So Kane sets up, big boot, choke slam, match over. After the match is over, he tombstones the Bunny, leaves him laying. And apparently, from what I read on the SmackDown taping results, excuse me, that were filmed last night. Because of the holidays, obviously WWE are not going to be filming on Festivus. So when it comes down to it, this is the last night of TV taping for WWE for 2014. So because of that, the Bunny was on at ringside, Rosebuds were basically not at ringside, and Adam Rose actually went on a match and pretty much went on his own. So that was kind of cool. Maybe we'll see something more from that very soon. And maybe this is the storyline right off of the Bunny. They're not actually going to do the feud between Adam Rose and the Bunny with the singles match leading to the Bunny leaving the company. They just had the Kane take care of it. Okay, sure. Apparently Goldust doesn't like the holidays, and Stardust basically says that it's going to be the unhappiest time of year. So apparently Stardust is now the Grinch. So that green in his gear at TLC actually makes perfect sense now, to be completely honest. So, Renee's in the back with Seth Rollins. Rollins basically says, until John Cena brings back the authority, he's not to be held responsible for what he may or may not do. He's going to make sure everything goes wrong. He said, if he has to work with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar in order to do so, then so be it. He has no problem with that. He's going to make everyone's life a living hell. Okay. Main event time, Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins, non-title match, of course. Intercontinental title on the line here. This match was fun. I enjoyed this for what it was. And actually, when you get to the end here, so Rollins was up top. Dolph runs up, hits the face buster. Not the Z Factor, because it didn't sit out with it. Got a 2 count off of that. Goes for the name dropper. He gets sidestepped by Rollins. Rollins with a waist lock. Dolph standing switch. O'Connor roll. 1-2 and a kick out. J&J get up on the ring apron. And Dolph goes to swat them both off. But they both drop off the ring apron. And this allows for Dolph to get charged in, backdrop over the top rope, goes Seth Rollins, and on to J&J security. Tossed in, Dolph hits the name dropper, 1-2 and a kick out. Zigzag, but the referee is distracted by Joey Mercury, and Jamie Noble just taps him with a big right hand. So, at this point, the referee tosses J&J at the end of the match. How appropriate. Rollins is distracted. He eats the zigzag. 1-2-3, match over. So, Dolph Ziggler wins clean over Seth Rollins. Obviously, we're building Dolph Ziggler, or it appears that we're building Dolph Ziggler. It's anyone's guess if that's the truth or not. Hopefully it is, because they need a big babyface right now, and obviously Cena is not babyface with a majority of the audience, and Roman Reigns is doing alright, but he's definitely not there yet. They're not willing to put anything on Ambrose, apparently, so Dolph Ziggler would be somebody they're going to have to push. Well, you'd think that, wouldn't you? Well, you have him beat Seth Rollins, somebody that is now the Money in the Bank briefcase holder, when they haven't talked about that at all, because there's no reason to talk about it, because Brock Lesnar has been on television forever. Forget about what happened on Raw, which I talked about last week. It was an okay addition to SmackDown. The 6-man tag was alright. I will say that that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I can say about that show. The 6-man tag was alright. Naomi and Nikki was a serviceable women's match. It was fine. Dolph and Rollins was the best match on the show, without a doubt, like you believe otherwise. So yeah, if you want to miss the show, just find a way to check out Dolph and Rollins. That's it. NXT time. Yay, let's talk about my favorite wrestling program on television today. Adrian Neville comes out, of course, and this was taped the night after TakeOver, but this is the first show after TakeOver, even though technically this was filmed the night after TakeOver. We're still 1 week later. So, nice chants from the crowd. Same thing we did with Thank You, Neville. And he says, it should be Sami Zayn out here right now, but he can't be here, obviously. He's not here tonight. Me and Sammy went to the War at TakeOver, and he had the best match of his career, and he's proud of his performance, even though he's man enough to admit that the better man won that night. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but Sammy deserves to be the champion. He wishes he could bring Sammy out to celebrate his title victory and to shake his hand right in the center of the ring, but he can't do that because of one man, and that man is Kevin Owens. He calls Owens out. Kevin Owens comes to the ring and he says, what you did was shameful. You chose to do that on your debut night? Shame on you, man. Of course, the crowd starts chanting, shame on you. Owens says he doesn't care about Neville's opinion because it's simply irrelevant to him. He cares about one thing, and that's finally being in NXT, finally being here. The fact remains that Sami Zayn isn't here because I am. I don't have a problem with you, Neville, but I came here to get to the absolute tip top. I will fight anyone and everyone, and if you're standing in my way, you have a problem with me, then I have no problems in fighting you. You want to fight, you've got one. So Neville leaves, and we're setting up a potential main event of Adrian Neville and Kevin Owens, which I really wish I could have seen live. After the commercial break, it's basically made an announcement that it's going to be the main event. So Owens and Neville is your first main event of post NXT TakeOver NXT. So of course we find out what happened in the aftermath of Becky Lynch's attack on Bayley during the NXT TakeOver Our Evolution kickoff show that I barely got to hear. I got to hear it quite well, but I didn't get to see it all because there were so many people in my way. I was against the barricade and I couldn't really see anything. I couldn't see anything at all. I just could hear what was going on. Sasha Banks has opened her eyes. This isn't a change of attitude. This is basically to the understanding that what does it matter if the fans cheer for you if you keep on losing? So that's a good point, really. So, of course, we're going to build up to a match between the two that's going to happen next. Tyler Breeze, where's he been? He's basically doing modeling jobs overseas. He'll be back very soon, so Tyler Breeze will be returning soon. We get our next match of the evening. Our first match on NXT is Bayley against Sasha Banks. We get a more aggressive Bayley, and I like this a lot. And it basically works really well to her advantage until she gets cut off, and her knee is her Achilles heel in this case, of course. And she gets single leg, she goes for the figure four, she gets kicked off, and a waist lock, she goes for the O'Connor roll, it gets reversed, and Becky makes her tap with the four-leg clover, and that's the end of that. So, obviously, Sheamus is using the clover leaf, Bayley is using a lot of Sheamus's moves, the axe handle and the charging shoulders into the buckle, but when it's all said and done, Becky Lynch wins with the inverted figure four. That works fine. I have no issues with that. We're building to Bayley's triumphant return to the top of the Divas pack very soon. Once Charlotte leaves NXT, we're going to have Bayley as the top babyface in NXT for the women's division, and I don't have a problem with that because Bayley is super over with the crowd. I can vouch for this because her slap bracelets, her magical tracking bands that they were selling at the NXT merchandise trailer were definitely selling quite well. So yeah, a lot of fans want to cheer for Bayley. She had a lot of signs, she had a lot of great reaction during TakeOver, even though she wasn't on the show, and she was only out there for the big celebration for Sami Zayn at the main event. So Bayley has to battle her demons. She has to battle back from adversity, battle back from a knee injury, and she has to topple Becky Lynch. And once she topples Becky Lynch, she goes after the boss. And I think that Bayley and Sasha Banks would be a decent feud once things settle down from the TakeOver aftermath. Because obviously Charlotte's going to get a rematch. I know that's happening very soon. So the vaudevillains show up in William Regal's office, and it is clear that they're showing William Regal what happened in the match. They have a gripe, and of course it goes right to black and white when they walk in the office, which was awesome. I love the camera work on the vaudevillains. I love the old-timey black and white camera. I think it works really well. The sepia tones work pretty well for the gimmick. Regal is to the understanding that Simon Gotch was not the legal man. That the legal man was Aiden English. So because of that, he understands they deserve a rematch, but it can't be denied because the show's too packed. So they'll get their rematch soon, and it's pretty much announced that's going to happen next week. So Bull Dempsey comes out, squashes a jobber. Baron Corbin comes out, he squashes a jobber. They have a ego measuring contest, and that's the end of that. So, building towards a match between these two, finally, with interesting results. We'll see what happens with this. So yeah, they've been building it with squash matches, with Bull squashing one guy, and then Baron Corbin squashing another guy, and it's going to be interesting to see when these two Bulls finally square off. So speaking of Bulls, here comes the Ascension. They're facing off against Enzo Amore and Big Cass, Colin Cassidy, with Carmella in their corner. So Enzo gets on the mic and does his spiel, which everyone knows, including myself, and he basically breaks out a version of the 12 Days of Christmas. It's like 7 fists a swinging, 6 will leave him laying, and then Cass says 5 golden rings, and he basically goes into the end, 1 being a beating from a certified G. Here comes the Ascension, and the match was real short. Big Cass had the match in hand, and Enzo tags himself in to try to impress Carmella at ringside. And he tries to knock Victor off the apron. Oh, sorry, Connor off the apron. I forgot what I was talking about for a second. Connor off the apron, he just stands there, and Victor makes him eat the STO, and that's the end of the match. Match over, and of course, Enzo does not impress Carmella whatsoever. He basically gets planted with the STO by Victor, and that's the end of that. Match over, so the Ascension are on the mic, and they basically say that Finn Balor and Hideo Itami got lucky. I guess you could call it beginner's luck, because they're simply the best in NXT, and when it comes to it, they want another match, they want another fight with Balor and Itami, and as long as they're still breathing, this war is far from over. That's fine. No issues with that. So, Ascension and Itami and Balor having one more match before the Ascension go off into WWE. I will say right now that these Demolition Road Warrior style promos, these 80s style, like, strongman, like badass dudes promos, no issues with them. I think they'll work quite well. Hopefully they don't get pushed away, and they actually do something with the Ascension when they finally debut them. I know they've been trying to do that for a while, and I know a lot of people said they want to see the Ascension with Bray Wyatt. Well, with the gimmick, I don't think it works, so the Ascension are going to be on their own, and hopefully they'll make an impact sooner rather than later. I would say right now, if I had to guess, I think we'd see the Ascension the night after the Royal Rumble. That's what I'm thinking. Unless they debut them earlier. Which is possible, but if they want to make it more impactful, I think they have it the night after the Rumble. Main event time, Adrian Neville and Kevin Owens. This match was really good, really enjoyable contest. Hard-hitting, fast-paced action. It was really nice because Neville tried to set the pace and Owens would powder to the floor. Neville would get some offense and Neville would basically watch Owens powder to the floor to stop anything he has. And a very vicious rope-assisted DDT by Kevin Owens almost got the 3, but it wasn't to be. Goes for the fireman's carry, gets reversed into a waist lock. Owens elbows out, comes off the ropes, and he gets hit stomach first in and catches the rebound German suplex. So, buzzsaw kick connects. Owens goes to the floor. Neville hits the leap over moonsault plancha. So they're fighting on the floor. Referee is counting. He tries to pick Owens up, but of course, Owens definitely has the advantage when it comes to weight advantage, so Neville's unable to get him up until just the last possible second. He gets posted, and both men are down, and they don't beat the count. Double count out ends the match, and match over, of course. Owens still making a statement, apron powerbomb on Adrian Neville, and just like Sami Zayn went out last week, Neville goes out on a stretcher, and that's how we end NXT. Another enjoyable edition of NXT, like I said, my favorite wrestling program on television today, without a doubt. I will say I like the opening promo. Set the tone that Adrian Neville was not a heel. Adrian Neville was basically just doing what he had to do to keep the championship, and now he's back to his old babyface ways. So Neville will be fine, and the crowd bought into it, so Neville is back in their good graces, which makes perfect sense. And now, in order to get completely in their good graces, that he has to take the fight over for Sami Zayn, which of course is going to be sidelined for quite a while, and take it to Kevin Owens, and that's why we set up our main event for the night. Really enjoyable match, hard-hitting, very excellent contest between these two, great back-and-forth match. I very much enjoyed every second of it. Bayley and Becky Lynch, I like seeing the more aggressive Bayley. I think it's going to build to something. Obviously, she lost because of her knee, but when she's 100%, I do think that she's going to take it to Becky Lynch. And once she goes past her, she's going to be a formidable challenger to Sasha Banks once she takes the NXT Women's Championship, which I think probably happens in January. If not, the next NXT live event, depending on what that's going to be, the 2-hour live event on the network. Game of one-upsmanship between Baron Corbin and Bull Dempsey. It's going to lead to a match. Who knows if it's going to go any further than that, but it's going to lead to a match. And then what? What happens with the two after that? That's the question right now. The Vaudevillains showing that they understand the wrestling rulebook and trying to get a not one up on William Regal, because obviously they understood that the wrong man was pinned, so they have a gripe, a legitimate gripe, so that's the reason why they're going to get a rematch. The Ascension squash Enzo and Big Cass, because basically Big Cass has the match won. Enzo, trying to impress Carmella, unsuccessfully ends up eating the STO from Victor, and that's how the match ends. And obviously the war between the Ascension and Hideo Itami and Finn Balor is far from over. We're going to see another match between these two, and I have zero issues with that. So yeah, that was a fun edition of NXT. I enjoyed it as always. If you're not watching NXT, why not? Check it out. And if you want to recap and you don't want to watch any of the old NXT on the network, I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that, but go back and just watch NXT, watch the TakeOver shows, watch NXT Arrival, and then get yourself acclimated with NXT, and then start watching it and make that your regular scheduled wrestling program for 2015. That should be everyone's goal right now, to watch wrestling that they enjoy. If you're not liking WWE's program right now, you don't like Raw, you don't like SmackDown. SmackDown is repetitive. Raw is way too many promos. You get tired of that. You want to watch real wrestling, and unless you want to watch indie stuff, or you want to watch ROH or Lucha Underground, or if you're waiting for Global Force Wrestling to kick off and you're looking forward to Wrestle Kingdom 9, you basically need to watch NXT if that's what's going to be able to get your attention right now for wrestling fans. It's a great show, very well put together. Like I said, written by former Sports Talk Cleveland member of their roster. He did a show called Sunday Night Submission, like I said, which definitely knows these guys very well. It's the reason why he writes so well, and that's Ryan Ward. And like I said, continue props to Ryan Ward and Triple H for making NXT so amazing every single week. So that is NXT and SmackDown for this week. A little shorter episode than normal, so I'll try to cut them down just a little bit more. I'm not necessarily going to go move for move as much as normal in 2015. That's one thing I'm looking forward to. I'm about to see this on camera, so I'm warning you up front. I will state right now that Raw will come tomorrow. Ho Ho Hogan, sure, okay. And that'll be your Festivus edition of Raw, so that's going to be fun. And Wednesday, of course, the Vlog of Randomness will be something special. And Thursday, Sip and Snack on Christmas. And Friday, AJ's Movie Reviews. We're going to be a day later, actually. So that'll be on Saturday. Friday will actually be some Busch Gardens content from Christmas. I do have Christmas on Ice, which I already put out for Vlog of Randomness last Wednesday. Winter Wonderland, which is what the end of that was, but I do have another Christmas show that is going to be coming for Friday. Saturday will be the return of AJ's Movie Reviews. We're going to be talking about Unbroken. We're talking about Into the Woods. We're talking about The Gambler, Big Eyes, Wild, and who knows what may end up being as well on that video. And like I said, brand new Versus coming this Sunday, our last Versus of 2014. That's going to be a circus theme, and that'll kick us off into 2015's Versus, which, trust me, that segment is going nowhere. Mark my words. A lot of movie content coming up, obviously. We've got the award show season starting out. Live televised awards starting next month. In a couple of weeks, we get our first one, so obviously we have prediction videos coming up. Celebrity Apprentice will be returning to this channel very soon as well, so that's going to be something to look forward to. Ashley returns after a week sabbatical. He'll be back next week. So a lot of stuff coming into pop for the end of 2014 up into 2015. So, as always, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, help spread the word about pop. If you haven't yet, go to Facebook. Click like on our Facebook fan page. I appreciate every single one of you out there that do so. It is Sir Owen Disney Pop. If you'd like to send me your Facebook fan request, or a friend request in this case, you're more than welcome to do so. It is Owen Disney. Follow me on Twitter at Sir Owen Disney. And last but certainly not least, we want to talk WWE or NXT. We want to talk about Halloween Horror Nights 25 coming up, Universal, Disney. You want to talk about theme parks in general, ask me questions. You have ideas for Versus, Sip and Snack, Vlog of Randomness, or you'd like to become a popcaster yourself, send your content to SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. So in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Have a happy holidays if I don't see you before then. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.